Well, hello everybody, I am Lazy99, welcome to another video. Today I am doing another video where I'm talking about Survivor. Oh yeah, now you may know or may not know, I am a humongous Survivor fan, and I am really excited for the next season that they got coming up, Survivor Game Changers, or... yeah, I'm not sure if I can pronounce that, whatever name it is, but I'll wait for other people to get it down and then copy them. Anyway, one of the big things is it's called Survivor Game Changers, and that's a big claim. And so I decided I'm going to go through this cast. Which one of these are actually game changers? There's going to be a few categories that I'm going to be able to define these players, tell you whether I think they should be on this cast, or if there may be some people that shouldn't have been. So I'm going to tell you if they are a game changer, a player, a good character, or a dud. And who they and if they're a dud, I'm going to tell you who I think they should have put on there instead. Alright, so here we go. With our very first one, Andrea. Andrea, her strategic slogan would be, I got a smile on my face and a knife behind my back. In terms of Andrea, what her best move is, I think it has to be in her second season, her Fans vs. Favorites 2, where she heard that they were going to be putting the votes on her and that there might be an idol played. And so what she did was she decided to say, hey, let's all flip our votes to the least likely person who it's going to be. And they all did. They all flipped their votes to Michael. They all voted, we're going to vote for Malcolm. And Malcolm said, hold up, bro, and grabbed the idol and would have played it correctly if stupid Eddie didn't tip off it to Andrea that the votes were coming her way. So, that was probably her best move. Her worst move? Isn't Rob nice? I like Rob. I think Rob is a very trustworthy person. I don't really hold this against her too much. It's a first-time player. Boston Rob is one of the greatest players ever. But you gotta say it out loud when talking about this. I think, yeah, her worst move is she aligned with Boston Rob, knew that he didn't trust her, and yet she still didn't ever try to vote him out. And before you know it, she was blindsided and set on to Redemption Island. Sure, she came back, but so what? Then she got voted off again. I'm glad to see Andrea back. I think that she is a good player. I think she's not really had the opportunity to really prove it yet. But I think that there is a little bit of simplicity into her. I think what's really lacking is her social game, and not necessarily her social game in order to talk to convince people. I think when she talks, she has a really commanding way of doing it. Like, I always think back to the scene where she's talking to Cochran and saying, you know, I think we should do B first in reference to Brenda, and she's talking and Cochran's like, dang, Andrea's really working hard, and I don't like this. You need to be able to have the right social game where man, we're gonna make a big move, we're gonna do this. Where if you're like, oh, I think we're gonna do this and I'm gonna make this move, that kind of sometimes doesn't resonate as well with people because they want to feel like they're making the move as well. Overall, I think Andrea is a good player, but is she a game changer? No. I think Andrea is a player. I'm happy to see her back. I think she's a good player. I think she has what it takes to go far. But I would also not be surprised if Andrea was targeted, because in this whole big moves era of Survivor where everyone's like, oh, gotta make a big move, I think she might be able to be seen as somebody trying to make a big enough move early enough and might get targeted in the boot right away. So I give Andrea a player rating. She's not a game changer, but she's a good player, so thumbs up enough. Brad Culpepper, 4 into 9 is out. No, wait. I mean, 5 and 9 is out. Okay, so if Brad had his strategic slogan, it would be, I'll make sure you know you're on the bottom, just don't vote me out. In terms of what Brad's best move was, I guess it's voting out Jervis's niece because she was a little volatile and was able to get the numbers to do so, because everything else he's done besides that is just been stupid. You know, he voted out John. That, I think, is his worst move. I mean, John was so trustworthy with him, he shared his idol clue. I mean, why would you get rid of a guy like that? And then he makes the girls know that they're on the bottom. He doesn't have any, I think we can still work together. I hope we can make it to the end. And then he alienates Caleb as well. And because of that, Caleb flips the script and just votes this dude out. And it's all his fault. He just didn't make anybody feel safe. Brad is not a good player. Even though he had the right idea, get the numbers, get a tribe together, and be the ones to make all the moves. His methods are doing it are so kindergarten that it's just like, dude, I can see what you're doing a mile away, and there's no. It's like being hit by a smart car. You know it's coming, and it's moving so slow that you can't really not dodge it. His moves are so blatantly obvious, except when they're bad, and even then, it's really easy to turn people against this guy. Brad has no calm. You call him out, he'll call back to you. I don't think Brad's going to win. I don't think he has what it takes to win. And in my mind, I don't think he's that entertaining of a character. Yeah. Look, the whole 4 into 9 or 5 into 9, whatever, that thing was funny. That's the only thing I remember about him. And I don't even think he's all that great of a character. Really. I think he's really replaceable. The only reason he's going back is because he was a football star. So, in my mind, Brad Culpepper is a dud. That's right, I think Brad Culpepper could have been replaced with anybody. He's not that entertaining. He's not that strategically smart. His strategy doesn't even seem to be that game-changing or new or anything. So, who would I replace Brad Culpepper with? Rodney! I was actually pretty down on Rodney when he first played. I was like, this guy doesn't have the smarts. But you know what? He was actually a good enough player that I think he could have come back. I think he was more entertaining as a character, that's for sure. And I know this isn't the best. It's just I would just love to see Rodney and Tony on a season together, okay? It's just because I just want to see them get into an argument. Can you just imagine it? You get Rodney would be like, "Yo, Tony, brother, I don't know what you're doing there, but you're pissing me off. Look, I don't even know who you are. You're nobody. You are barely even a character. Hey, don't talk to that way on my dang birthday. I don't know if I have to speak louder to you for you to get this through your head. What are you talking about?" It would have been perfect! And since there's only two other characters from Worlds Apart here, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. I think it would have... I wouldn't want to have more than 3. I'm just saying it would have been a good thing to have. I think Rodney would have been a much more entertaining character than Brad Culpepper, but that's what we got, so that's my first dud. Brad Culpepper. Aubrey Bracco. If she had a strategic slogan, it would be started on the bottom, now here. I'm sorry. She was on the bottom, the merge, and then she flipped it around and was on the top. So that her best move in the game, your tie is now my tie. Is when she flipped tie. She flips tie. Ty was gonna be with the boys and who were like, oh well, we got the 2 idols, we can't be voted out. Hole. And then they vote out Scott, and he's like, "Alright, give me the idol. You're giving it to me, right? Oh. Whoops." The fact that she was able to lure Ty to her side means that Aubrey has an amazing social game. That she was able to flip a guy that has, strong convictions and was able to flip him to her side so wholeheartedly that, you know, he was not, he didn't betray her for the rest of the game, didn't even consider it. That being said, is Aubrey a game changer? Yes. I'm going to say yes. Now, a lot of people might say, whoa, look, she played a good game, but she didn't really change anything. I would say she changed, at the very least, our expectations of her character type. Because I'll be 100% honest with you. When Kaoh Rong was starting and I saw her cast video, I said she'd be the first one out. That's what I'm like, she has no chance. She's done for. She's talking about, Harry Potter and whatnot. Her mind's not in the right place. She has no chance. She proved me wrong big time. I think, you know what it has to do with? Why I felt that way? Look at her photos on, this is her before the game starts. Oh, look, she's happy and she's fun, and then she's like, I'm going to have a good time on Survivor. This is her during the game. Look how serious she is. This is like the look of a mob boss that is like, if you cross me, I'm going to take you out and everyone you love. You know, this is the look of not someone who's playing around. This is the look of someone who's playing a game and playing it hard. In terms of the worst move she did, I think it would probably have to... I vote for Julia. The fact that she voted for Julia and then crossed out her name and then voted off Dr. Obama. Sorry, I forget the guy's name, but I remember that everyone thought he looked like Obama. Anyway, I think that was her worst move because it didn't really make her, loved by the people who she flipped to, and it didn't really make her loved by the people that she flipped on. So she was in a really tough spot then. If they went to tribal council, they might have had some troubles. When I first heard she's back, I'm like, that means she's in a great position no matter which tribe she's on, because she is smart, strategic, but she's a newer player, so people don't necessarily think her is going to target her first, and she's going to be working with, she has a couple of her old allies on this season. That's great, but then I saw how many other people were from Kaoh Rong. We have 4 people from Kaoh Rong. None of the other teams even come close to that. I think the closest is 3, maybe? I don't even know if there's that. 4 people from Kaoh Rong, that is going to be tough. Because that means... And the thing that makes it even tougher is that two of those people she was allies with, and one of those people was allies with one of the guys that she was allies with. I'm saying she might be in trouble because people look at that Kaoh Rong 4 and be like, okay, that's something we need to take out. We saw in Cambodia when there was a lot of Cagayan players, and there's 2 Cagayan players left in the finals, so that's too dangerous. We need to take that out. But in the end, I think that Aubrey has earned her, if she wasn't a game changer, I'd put her on the player. She's a good player. But I think she is a game changer because I didn't really ever expect anything from the nerdy girl character on Survivor. They usually just too in over their heads, they don't know what to do, and then before you know it, they find themselves just, falling to the ground and getting voted out or dragged to the end, like Hannah. But I think that, okay, Hannah wasn't necessarily dragged to the end, but you know what I mean? They get to the end and then they get no votes. And that's why I think Aubrey is a game changer. She changed this perception, what people think of now now people have something to compare, when we see a nerdy guy there, we say, he's like a Cochrane, he's like a Steven. Now we have someone say when they're a nerdy but smart strategic player, that means we can say, it's like an Aubrey. Now we have that to point to, and I think she changed the game and the perception of who does good on a season like that because of it. So, yes, I'm giving Aubrey a game changer seal of approval. Next we got Caleb. Oh boy, Caleb. Beast mode cowboy. Yeah, right. In case anyone hasn't realized, I don't watch Big Brother. Okay. If Caleb had a strategic slogan, his would be, I give everything till I drop. Literally. In terms of Caleb's best move, he didn't go to tribal council. He doesn't have any moves. I think that's the thing with me. The biggest Question mark is, can Caleb actually play? I don't know. Because nobody's seen him go to tribal. In terms of strategic experience, Caleb has the least out of anybody on any season of a returning player that I've ever seen. Even flippin' Francesca went to a tribal council. Okay? So she had more experience going into her second chance than Caleb did. Because he's never gone to a tribal. And the guy that he was aligned with was Ty, and Ty was on shaky ground at the beginning of the game. I don't think Caleb has a chance to win, but he has a chance to be a good player, and I think that we don't know what type of player he is, so I can't put him in the player category. In terms of worst move, I don't know. He didn't drink enough water, because, as I say, he didn't go to tribal. He has no moves. He's a moveless player. At least any moves that made any difference. But I'm putting him in the character category because he seemed to be actually a lot of fun. He seemed to have a couple of good moments and a couple of funny things. And I will actually be interested to see what he is like as a returning player. Because I have a feeling he'll try to play like a first-time player. Even though he's been on Big Brother, so he's played a game like this before. I still think that he'll try to be a little bit more straightforward, and I think that that's going to be his downfall. Unless he gets medevac again, I can see him making the merge, but beyond that, he'll get targeted and get taken out. Either that, or if his strategy is so simple and so simplistic, he might get taken to the end and he'll think that he'll win because he's been winning Immunity Challenge, but he actually has no strategic prowess and will lose because this isn't Big Brother. So, that's my take on Caleb. I'm okay with him coming back, actually. I'm okay with it. Not necessarily one of my choices, but I'm okay with it. He's definitely not a game changer. The only thing that changed the game on that was they set a record for a number of people falling down at a challenge. Whoop-de-doo. Ciara Easton. If she has a strategic slogan, it would be, "My way or the rock way." Her best move has to be flipping and forcing the rock draw. Something that hadn't happened since Season 4 and hadn't happened since till this last season. So it's been a little bit more of a time jump between Season 4 and 27? Yeah, 27 and 27 and 33. But still, she was the one to force this rock draw, and that took some nerve. And that I think is her best move, that she forced the rock draw, because it really was her chance to flip the game at that point. She should have realized earlier, because Tyson already had his 3 with Monica and Gervase. She should have realized earlier that it wasn't there, but when Gervase and Monica made it painfully clear that it was, then she didn't wait. She didn't hesitate. She took her chance, and sure, it didn't pan out, but she took her chance while she had a chance. In terms of her worst move, it probably was teaming up with Cass and working with Abby Maria, because she should have read the sinking ship. That ship was going down fast, and instead of going down with it, she should have I think she should have gone to Andrew Savin and said, "Hey, look, I didn't really want to turn on you." Cass was like, "Oh, I got to make a big move and everything. I might not be able to work with you now, but let's see if we can work with each other down the road. I really don't want to vote you out." She should have done something like that to make sure that when the tribes went to the merge, that she was not going down with the Cass ship. And to be fair, she turned it around for a little bit, but it was only so long before she got targeted and knocked out of the game. I like Ciara. I think it's kind of a little soon. She was on the All-Star season 2 seasons ago. Or 3. Okay, I guess it's 3 seasons ago. But it's a little soon, It's like, wow, I mean, you were just on, second chance. Now you're on Game Changers? I mean, take a little bit of a breathing room here. But I'm okay with it, because in terms of Game Changers, I think Ciara fits that. 2 things. She forced the first rock draw in, 23 seasons. because it was in season 4 when it happened, and it was in season 27 when she did it. So yeah, she forced the first Rock in 24 seasons, and she voted out her mom, something that nobody else has done or ever probably will do unless they do another Blood vs. Water season. But it's like she's someone who could do something like that and took the strategic mindset rather than the emotional one. And I think, dang, that's good. Those are two good game-changing things, and so because of that, Ciara definitely gets my game-changer seal of approval. So yeah, I like Ciara. Glad she's back. She can bring her strategy. She can bring it. She knows how to play this game, and I think that now she might be underestimated a lot more because her first season made her a target, but her second season she didn't get to do a whole lot. But I think that might make people look elsewhere, and before you know it, the knife's in their backs. So I wouldn't count Ciara out. I really wouldn't. JT, if he had a strategic slogan, it would be, "Oh shucks, I guess I'm perfect." In terms of his best move, I think it's, "Oh Steven, oh how could you? You weren't going to take me to the end when I took you. I thought we were brothers, man." I love the point in the finale when he says, when Jeff asks him, "Were you playing that up?" He's like, "Yes, I was." Because that, to me, was the best. It showed to me that JT understood this game. He wasn't like an all-shucks guy. He was playing dumber, I think, than he really was. But he was doing it in a way that made people like him, He was such a likable guy, a likable character. And I think that you just had to look at JT and you'd say, dang, that guy's so charming. And I think that his best move was turning everybody so hard against Steven that he got a perfect game. Nobody voted for Steven because he was able to make Steven look like the bad guy so hard. I think JT is probably one of the best final tribal councils ever. And I think that was where his best move shined. Because everything else, I think you everything else you can say is a move that JT and Steven worked on together. They blindsided Tyson. They blindsided Debbie. And they did all this stuff. But it was when JT vilified Steven and made him look like the bad guy, made him look like the good guy, was probably his best move. His worst move? Do I even have to say it? "Hey Russell, you don't have an idol. Here, have mine." I mean, giving your idol away to somebody on the villain's tribe who you don't know what's going on over there. It might be a women's alliance, sure. Might not be. He might have an idol of his own if that was the case either. You don't know. So, don't give him your immunity idol. Look, I know that if Russell turned out to be a benevolent guy and it wasn't all female alliance and he was on the bottom, I know we would probably be talking about it as one of the greatest moves ever. But guess what? That's not how it works. It's still a dumb move and it was an awful thing to do and he did it and boom, yeah, he got in trouble and got voted out with his own sticking idol. That's all his fault. But in the end, I am going to give JT the game changer seal of approval because I think while he wasn't the first perfect game, that happens to be Earl from Fiji. He did a perfect game, and his tribe was low in numbers. Remember, his tribe only had like 3 people because Joe was medevac. 3 people to the other guys is, I don't remember how much, 6 was it? 8 maybe, I don't know. Either way, they were down in the numbers and they were able to flip things around, become the power players, become the leaders, and before they knew it, he was in the finals. And I think that means, yeah, he was a good player. He was able to come back from a bad deficit in terms of losses, and he was able to make everybody love him and got a perfect game. Game changer? Yes. And I'm actually really interested to see what JT looks like a third time. He played the hero in the first time and won. He tried to be more villainous the second time and lost. What's he going to be like? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Cirie Fields, game changer, seal of approval. Let's just get that out of the way. Cirie is a game changer. I think that unlike anybody else, Cirie did change the game for a lot of women and was able to make it in a way that I still think that Cirie is the best player to not win Survivor. I mean, let's just look at her best move. And a lot of people think I'm going to talk about the Eric flip. And, you know, I would if Cirie was the main factor in that. Like, okay, it was her idea, yes. And she played a big role in that. She was one of the people that got Eric to do it. But it wasn't just her move. You know, Natalie played a big part. The way Parvati and Andrea started attacking Eric's character. While that wasn't as big of a thing as what Natalie and Cirie were doing, still played a part. It was a unified thing that Cirie came up with. It was her plan, fair enough, but I still think you can't just say that's her move 100%. If you didn't have Natalie, that move wouldn't have worked. And of course, if you didn't have Cirie there, that wouldn't have worked either. But I think her best move is the 1, 2, 3. This happens in Survivor Exiled Island, Panama. Basically, we got this girl named Courtney who is like everybody wants to take to the end because she's such a goat. And Cirie knows that if she wants to get to the end, she needs this goat to be gone because that goat is taking a spot in her finals and that goat doesn't want to go to the end with her, obviously. And this goat had flipped over with the other guy to vote off Aras. So what does she do? She tells Shane they're voting off Danielle. She tells Danielle and Aras, we're voting off Courtney. She tells Courtney and Terry that they're voting off Aras. So in the end, when the votes came up, we got 1 vote Danielle, 2 votes for Aras, and 3 votes for Courtney. It's a brilliant move that is all resting on the social shoulders of Cirie. The 1, 2, 3 is a brilliant move, and I think it's her. It shows how much of a puppet master she is. She's clenching so many strings. She's talking to these two and saying that we're going to vote this way. She's talking to Shane saying we're going to vote this way, and she's telling Danielle and Aras, okay, we are voting this way. And I think that's great. That is great. The 1, 2, 3 is her best move. What is her worst move? I think it really comes down to pissing off JT in Heroes vs. Villains. She made enemies with somebody who was in a very clenching point of that season. JT was the person that was going to decide who lived and who died. And by pissing off JT, not making that social bond stronger, that lost her the game. And she was a little bit unmovable in some episodes in that, and she, because of that, people targeted, because if you're not going to move, I'm going to move you. And because of that, she was targeted. But Cirie is now going to be playing for her 4th time. I don't know if she has it in her or not, but not because of her. I think that Cirie has it in her to play. I'm just thinking that I don't know if she has the ability to fly under the radar anymore. You know, she needs to have her social game so sharp that nobody is... I think she needs to, honestly, team up with some threats. I think she needs to look and say, okay, last time I targeted Tom, and I targeted the big threats, and that just blew up in my face. We need the threats to come together as a group, and because otherwise we're going to get voted out. You know, and I think that's... I don't know if she knows that, but I think that's what she needs to do, and I don't know if she has it in her. But if anyone does, it's Cirie Fields. I would never count Cirie out, even though it looks a little dire for her on her tribe, but I'll get to that later. I would never count Cirie out. Cirie is a game changer in every sense of the word, and probably one of the reasons it's called Survivor Game Changers. We got Cirie, Game Changers. Jeff Varn. Varn's strategic slogan: just start a fight and walk away. His best move would probably have to be flipping Abby Maria to his side in in season 31, because Abby Maria was, he got her to flip with himself and Terry to take the numbers. Unfortunately for Varner, the tribes then swapped super early, but I think that Varner knows that, okay, this was my moment to take control of the tribe, and he did it, and he got Abby Maria on his side, and sure, that might not be too hard, just don't piss her off, but it's harder to keep her on his side. I think Abby Maria had more loyalty to him than anybody else during that game, and I think that, in the end, I think Abby Maria is definitely a hard person to control, and I think that's why it was so hard for me to put Varner under anything, because I think Varner is a player. I don't think he had a good chance to necessarily play last time, but I think I'm going to categorize Jeff Varner under the category of he's a player. He's playing this game. He's playing it hard. He is so full of life and energy and wanting to play this game. I think, though, if that might not necessarily work out, because we saw how his strategy worked out in his worst move. In terms of what Jeff Varner's worst move is, it has to be, I know I'm a threat and everything, but it's peanut butter, let me jump off. Not a bright idea, and he knows that was definitely his worst move. Jumping off of that challenge when he knows that he should have needed to win immunity. But I'm actually glad to see Varner back. I had him as my winner pick last time he was played, because he was so heavily in the editing, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's edited so well, he's got to make it to the end. He did not. But now he's not edited heavily so far, and I'm like, whoa, what does that mean? Does he not make it far now, or does he make it far? I don't know. I don't think Varner is a game changer. I mean, he was in Season 2, and he did play well, but I think I think he might have been a game changer if he didn't jump off that, if his tribe got the numbers. I think you might have been able to categorize him as that. But I think for the most part, his strategy is going to be more old school a little bit. I think he's trying to combine the old school with the new school, and we'll see how successful he is at that. He might get tripped up. I think he might get tripped up again, and that might go to hurt him. But in the end, I like Varner, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again. So, thumbs up on Varner. I'm putting him in, he's a player, not necessarily a great one. We'll have to wait and see, but I think he's a player and a good character. But I'm still putting him in the player category. Debbie Weiner. Debbie Weiner's strategic slogan would be, I'm like Coach, but a woman. Her best move has to be, I guess, that, bye-bye, Liz, see you later, Liz, when she was able to put herself in the middle, where everyone at first was saying, let's get rid of these two old people, and they're like, no, let's use the old people. The old people she and Joe are like, well, let's use you and vote you out. And she got Liz out, and it was a blind side. It was a really good move. Her worst move has to be why she was voted out. She was, Aubrey was like, I'm not sure if I trust Julia. I think that she might be with the guys, and then she's like, no. Here, Julia, come over here. Let me tell you all our plans. And that's what got her voted out, and that has to be her worst move, was to be too trusting to the people that her alliance was a little bit leery about. Is she a good player? I don't know. I don't think she's bad, but I'm going to put her in the character category. She's a good character. So I think that I like that Debbie's coming back. I think that she's a very unique type of person. I've actually said, that Mama C isn't back, because Mama C was a great character, but I'm not putting Debbie on the dud list, so she's not. I'm not going to say Mama C should replace her. I'm just saying that I would like to see her back. But I think that Debbie is definitely one that is a good character to come back. She's going to be a lot of fun. She's going to be a little crazy, and that's going to make it even funner. And I think that overall, I think she's fun, and I think that she's going to have a lot of. I think that her problem is going to be. I think she's going to be Aubrey focused. I know she says that she doesn't. She's not affected by it, but I don't really believe her. I think she's going to be like Aubrey. I got to get Aubrey out. Aubrey betrayed me. Aubrey came after me. I'm going to get her out. And actually, that might work to her advantage. Really? Because with 4 people on from Co Wrong, her flipping and going against one of them hardcore might actually be to her advantage. That means that it might mean bad news for Ty. Just anyways, so yeah, I think that she's a good character. Moving on. Malcolm Freeberg. I love Malcolm. If Malcolm had a strategic slogan, it would be, I'm playing my idol. Not! His best move would be, hey, I know I have an idol, but can I use yours? When he said, when he said to Reynolds, hey, hold up, bro. I'm not sure if that's exactly what he said. I can't remember. But when he says, hold up, bro, they're voting for me, give me the idol. Even though I have one in my pocket, give me the idol. That takes balls, man, to be able to say, hey, I got an idol in my pocket, but I want yours. That takes nerve, and it's just like, oh man, I would, you would think that if he thought he was in trouble, just play his own idol. That's what normal players say. I think I'm in trouble, I got an idol, I'll play it. What does Malcolm think? Hey, I think I'm in trouble, I have an idol, but he has an idol, so I'll take his. That was perfect, and I definitely think Malcolm is a contender to win. If they're smart, they should target him early, but I'm not sure if they will. Malcolm's very charming, and he's very able to get people to like him, and I think that might work to his advantage. And I would not be surprised if Malcolm reads the room and says, hey, I'm a threat. I need to work with others' threats. I need to work with the Cerise, with the Tonys, with the other people like that. I would not be surprised if that's what his strategy is, to say, let's get some bigger targets in front of me and then work my way to the end. In terms of his worst move, this is kind of not his fault, but I'm going to put it anyway for him not stressing this. Not getting Corinne to shut up. Honestly, if Corinne didn't tell Dawn that they were going to flip everything in the next vote, then Dawn wouldn't have told Cochran, Cochran wouldn't have gotten everyone together, and their side wouldn't have been voted off. If he said to Corinne, okay, we got the numbers on the next vote, we just need to make sure we get through this one, don't tell anybody a thing, otherwise we're screwed. If he stressed that more, maybe he did, maybe it just didn't click in, but I'm saying if he just got that to lock down, his side would have won that, and he might have won that season. It's a very big possibility. Would not be surprised by it. But still, I give Malcolm my game changer seal of approval. I love that he's coming back. This is the third time. Hopefully he can bring it home. I'll always, part of me, be cheering for Malcolm because I think the guy's a great guy. And we'll have to see what happens with him. Oh, it's going to be fun. Next, we got Haley Ford. Who? Oh, what was she? Right, Worlds Apart. If she had a strategic slogan, it would be, OMG, let's go skinny dipping! Her best move? I love her new tribe name! She was really enthusiastic about the tribe name. She has no moves. Her worst move? I know Joe seems to be on the outs, but let's stick with him. I don't get. When you're on the bottom and your main guy in your alliance is getting targeted, you go to the other people and say, hey, let's vote him out. Try to get yourself off the bottom. Don't leave yourself to be voted off next. Anyway, not that she could have done anything much by it, but she had no chance. Game changer? Are you kidding me? This is Haley. She, let's just say it. She's a dud. This is bad. Bad, guys. Come on. Haley, are you serious? What did she do? Nothing. What is she going to do in this next season? Nothing. My gosh, I would have preferred, heck, if you had chosen Alexis from Cagayan, I would have chosen that over this. Oh my gosh, it's a bad choice all around. Why on earth you would choose Haley over anybody else is beyond me, and I think she's going to do the same thing. She might even be a go to the end this time. I don't want to see Haley around that long. She was annoying and honestly a non-entity of a player. And on a season called Survivor Game Changers, why are we looking at her? Why is she here? This is one of the things when you cast somebody like this, when they say, well, okay, you call it Game Changer and you cast this person, you serious? Yeah, that's when you got people rolling their eyes at the name Survivor Game Changers. Because It's ridiculous when she's not a game changer. She's a game stagnator, if anything. And she's a dud. Who would I replace her with? Jen Brown. Look, Jen, I think, would have been in this place if she didn't have that horrible last few episodes where she's just like, come on, guys, vote me out. I'm tired of being here. Just vote me out. Vote me out. Vote me out. Okay, Jen was like one of my favorite characters until those episodes, and I'm like, dang it, Jen, why do you have to be that way? Come on, you can fight. Do something. But no, she just mellowed out and basically quit, but didn't quit. And that's why she's not on this season. I would have still put her on there over Haley. Because at least Jen did something. At least Jen, had strategic prowess and did stuff. At least Jen was more entertaining as a character. Even if she did mellow out and say, vote me out, everyone else would be like, fine. I want to stay in this game longer. But, Jeff has a whole thing where it's like, I'm not bringing back quitters. I've learned my lesson from Colton. And I get that, but in terms of who I would have rather have, I would have put Jen Brown. Hands down. Ozzy. Now, a lot of people think, yeah, Ozzy's a game changer. Not really that strategic. His strategic slogan would be, go win immunity again. His best move would be winning 5 immunities in a row. That's good. He did good there, but still not that great in terms of strategic quality. His worst move? Hey, let's get myself voted out instead of this guy who hates my guts and will not go to rocks for me. That is not a good move. I don't care what anybody says. When Ozzy got himself voted out, it sounds good on paper, but in the end, if you know Cochran's not going to go to flipping rocks for you, and who knows, maybe this woman who's been on this island, Redemption Island, and who hates Coach and is obviously against him, she's not going to flip back to him. Send Cochran to go up against her, and if she wins, then she'll go to your side and you'll have the numbers. But if you go over there, you're just going to tie it at best, and then it was a dumb move, and it was a stupid decision, and I don't think anybody should give him any credit for that. It was stupid. Guess what? Even though a lot of people say Ozzy's a game changer, no! His plan is win immunity, then do it again. That's not game changing. That's Kelly Wigglesworth from season 1. That's been done before him. That's a strategy. That's not even a strategy. If your strategy is to win immunity, that means you have no strategy and you're hanging on for dear life. Guess what? Ozzy's going on the dud list. Yeah. Look, Ozzy early on was an interesting character. I liked to see where he went. It was interesting to see this challenge beast in Redemption Island. It was interesting seeing this challenge beast get blindsided. It was interesting to see him go to the end with a superior mental intellect opponent. But guess what? None of that matters because I've seen everything from Ozzy. There's nothing Ozzy can do that's going to make me change on him. His strategy is predictable, and the way he's going to go out is predictable. He's either going to make it to the merge and then be the #1 target, or get taken out right before the merge. It's like there's a textbook on how to get rid of Ozzy in Survivor. This is nothing new. He has nothing new to bring to the table. If you say to me, Ozzy's going to come back a strategic mastermind, then you need to take your stupid pills away from you because you've been taking too much. Because Ozzy is not a strategic mastermind. He's not a strategic threat. He's just saying, hey guys, let's just all chill on the beach and then I'll win immunities. It's not entertaining, and I would say, Ozzy, you're done, okay? I don't need you. I know you're a fan favorite, but I don't need to see Ozzy anymore. That's why he's going on the dud list. Who would I replace Ozzy with? How about a guy that's, kind of like Ozzy, but more full of life and full of energy and is funny and is a lot of fun to look and watch? Jay! Yeah! Jay from this most recent season. I would have put Jay on here in a heartbeat because Jay is funny. Jay is more entertaining. Jay is more strategic. Jay is it would be a lot of fun to see what him and Michaela on a season together now as enemies. That would be interesting. There's a lot of interesting things you could tell with that. Ozzy, there's nothing left to tell. We've seen it all. This is the 4th time we've seen Ozzy, and I don't think it's going to be any different from the last 3 times. Okay, it's going to be different from the first time, because he's not making it to the end. Everyone knows how to deal with Ozzy. Oh, speaking of Michaela, she's next. Michaela Bradshaw. Game changer? No. Player? Maybe. Her strategic slogan is, you better move or I'm going to move you. In terms of best moves, it would probably be helping Adam out. You know, at that challenge where she's like, Adam, do this, and then apparently from what I hear from interviews, she then tried to mouth the words, vote out Vicky to Adam, and well, he did, but I think that would probably be her best move because it got out a person she wanted to get out. Her worst move, oh hey Jay, what's that you got there? That's an idol? Interesting. I think it's the fact that she didn't, really come across to Jay like, all right, we can use this idol. Oh man, look, I know you probably weren't going to tell me, but it's okay. I'm not going to tell anyone. He didn't put her. She didn't put his mind at ease. She didn't, say, sure, she didn't say anything to anybody, but she did not really make anybody feel comfortable that she had that knowledge. And that made her a target, and I think that's why she got voted out. That's why Will said that's why he wanted her out, that he wanted to be the only one that knew that Jay had the idol. So yeah, maybe it was just wrong place, wrong time, but she should have made Jay feel a whole lot more comfortable with her knowing that than she did. I'm putting Michaela in the character category. That's why she's here, because she's a good character. I'm not saying she's a bad player, but I don't think we really get to see a whole lot of her play. And I don't know how she's going to do in an all-star player season. These are going to be some major players coming into this game, and that might turn people away. That might get people to be put off by her with her over-exuberant, say what she thinks sort of thing. But that also might draw people towards her to be like, wow, okay, this is somebody I can work with. So I think Michaela's a good character, and I like that they put her on. Tai Trang! He's also another person I'm putting in the characters category. I don't think he's that good of a player. I think he's a little bit too sporadic. He knows certain things that people do in Survivor, but he doesn't know why. He dumped water on the fire, but he didn't really know why he did that. He flipped, but he doesn't really know why it was a good idea to be with those guys in the first place. Ty's not a great strategic mastermind, but he's fun to watch. I think a lot of other people like him more than I do, but that's because I'm more looking for the strategic strategist and who's controlling the game, and Ty was never that. And I don't think he can be that. But also, I think, as I said before, I think he might be in trouble because he's on a tribe with Debbie, and she might be targeting him right off the bat because he was close to Aubrey. She might be on an against Aubrey rampage. Anyways, but I think that Ty is fine. I think he's fun, and I think it's going to add some humor to the season. But I don't think Ty has a whole lot of game in him. And so, yeah, that's why I think that in terms of his best move, he found an immunity idol. Really, that's the only thing I can really say. I guess he didn't combine it with Scott and help vote him out, but I view that a lot more Aubrey's move to flip Ty. So in terms of Ty's best move, I don't really know what it is other than finding that. In terms of worst move, dumping water on the fire. I mean, sure, nobody thought it was him, but it's still dumb. Don't do that. Why are you making other people pissed at you when you... It's just a stupid thing to do. I think Ty is a good character. I don't think he's going to win. I think he might go far. But actually, I think he probably is not going to go too far. I'm just saying, I think he's going to get targeted. He's older. He has alliances with people already. That's for sure. And he's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to know what Ty is thinking. So, yeah. And some people want to eat the chickens. So better get him out of there before he names it Mark. How twisted would it be if they actually brought Mark the chicken? Like if they actually took him off the island, like they found him and then brought him back for this season? How twisted would that be, man? Next we got Sandra Diaz Twine. Game changer. Obviously. She's the only person ever to win twice. Her strategic slogan would be, hey, anyone but me. You can put that on a bumper sticker, for crying out loud. That's how much that's her slogan. She can vote out anybody as long as it's not her, and she can make it to the end and win. Do I think Sandra's winning this time? Well, here's the thing. Sandra got lucky that both seasons ended up almost exactly like each other. She gets a strong alliance with a big character in the game. Then that alliance is taken out. She's the last one standing of that old alliance. And then everyone else forgets about her, targets everybody else, and then she just makes her way through the rubble until she's at the end. I doubt this season's going to play out that way a third time. And it all depends on if she gets the main alliance off the bat. She's good at that. But if her alliance starts to lose a lot of these challenges, she might be targeted early, like, look, we're losing, we need our big strong people. And you know what? Sandra's won twice. I'm not saying she'll win again, but I'm just saying, why take the risk? We're getting rid of our weaker players. Why not get rid of Sandra? I am going to put money on it. Sandra's torch will be snuffed this season. She is not going to the final three. I would bet money on that if I wasn't broke. In terms of what Sandra's best move is, it would be that time when she got everyone to flip on Coach. Well, not everyone. She got Russell to flip on Coach. Where she said, yeah, Coach, he's been talking. He'd been saying how he regrets voting off Boston Bob and that he was going to flip over to the heroes. And then Russell's like, what? Okay, I'm going to vote him out. And then he runs off and he's like, you an idiot. Okay, that wasn't really Sandra. Let's see. I don't know about that. No, anyway. So she was able to flip everyone versus Coach. That was her best move. 100%. In terms of her worst move, maybe Fair Play ain't so bad. This is, she and Krista finally flip Dara and, that other girl against Fair Play and Burton. She finally gets them to realize that, oh wow, they're not going to take us to they're going to go to the final two together. And what does she do? She and Krista vote with Burton and Fair Play. Why? That I think is her worst move. And she talks about how she regrets it, and they're like, oh, why did I do that? Because it just left her to get her side picked off again, and Krista was next to go. So, I'm saying that's her worst move. Now, I might be remembering it wrong, that there wasn't anything she could do, but I'm pretty sure she had the numbers right there, and she lost them when she voted back with Fair Play and Burton. Anyways, next we got Tony Vlachos, and he's going to be sitting in a spy shack and listening to everybody, and he's going to be hunting for immunity items, and there's no Wu, and there's no Trish, but he's going to be, he's a game changer, obviously. Tony is probably the most, one of the biggest game changers in recent history, because Tony's strategic strategy, one flip forward, one flip back. He has strategic prowess, and he has social prowess that people underestimate him with. I mean, he was able to convince Wu to take him to the end over Cass, who was a sure win. Tony is a good player, and I think that he's definitely ready to do some more damage. I think that his biggest problem is he's a really big target. Like, Tony's not hiding anymore. He can't hide. He needs to be working right off the bat and get some trust really quickly. And that's going to be hard to do. I think he needs to go to Malcolm and these other big threats that are like, okay, we're big threats, let's work together. Tony needs that, because otherwise he's going to be targeted early, because he's not really trustworthy, he's not someone you can work with long term, and he's definitely someone you got to worry about in terms of finding idols and whatnot. Tony is definitely a threat, and definitely somebody you need to target early. I would target him early. If I was on this season, I'd be like, okay, we got to get rid of Tony sometime soon, and that's just it. He's a winner. That's another big reason to vote him off. It's just there's a lot of reasons, and most of them have to do with the fact that you can't trust Tony that long. He voted out Trish, and she was so loyal to him. Anyway, But yes, Tony gets a Game Changer seal of approval. In terms of what his best move was, as I say, it's having Wu take him to the end. Worst move would be top 5, baby! Top 5, baby! Top 5, baby! When he yelled out of the challenge that his group was going to be the top 5, which of course they weren't because he's going to vote a lot of them out before the top 5. And then Sarah heard that and was like, well, wait a minute. Am I not in that? Am I number 6 if I go over to that side? Alright, I'm sticking over on this side. So, yes. But Tony's strategy was, I'll dig a hole for myself during the morning, and then I'll fill it back in during nights and get myself out of it. I don't know if that strategy can win again, but if anybody can do it, it's Tony, because the fact that he won the first time is an anomaly. And I'm not saying it was a fluke. I'm just saying I didn't think anyone could ever pull that game off. But Tony, Game Changer? Oh yeah, 100%. Next, we got Sarah, also from Cagayan. Her strategic slogan would be, Apacat, and that means something. In terms of her best move, I think that would be, I guess, sticking with the brains. You know, when after the tribe swap, she goes with the brains, and then they vote out Alexis. I guess she doesn't really have a whole lot of times where she was able to pull anything up, but that was a good move. Worst move. Telling Tony, you know what, I think I'll make up my mind at tribal. Ooh, that's not good. For one thing, Tony ain't gonna buy that. Nobody makes up their mind at tribal. And if there's anybody that knows what lies are and how to snuff them out, that's Tony. I mean, Tony knows how to get people to... I mean, Tony knows what's a lie, and he knows when that's such a lie, and so he was able to tell... Well, okay, he wasn't able to flip Cass. Trish flipped Cass, but he was able to tell that he wasn't going to be able to flip Sarah, so that was her worst move, to say, I'll make up my mind at tribal. Nobody does that. Sarah was hard for me. I like Sarah, so I didn't really want to put her in the duds category. But I also don't think she's that entertaining of a character to be put in the character strategy. So it was like, is she a dud or is she a player? I'm going to say she's a player I'm going to put her in player because I think she does have some strategic game. She almost threw a challenge, but it was going to be thrown for something that was a reason that didn't actually happen. I think that Sarah has some strategic prowess. I still think she's very narrow focused. She doesn't have the wide view of everybody that she should, and I think that's going to get her into trouble. All that's going to happen is she's going to lose track of somebody, and then they're going to blindside her, and she's not going to see it coming because she keeps her eye on what she's doing and not what everybody else is doing. That's why it was a surprise to her when Cass flipped, because she's like, why would Cass flip? Well, you were making Cass feel like crap. So don't do that. Just saying. Sarah is definitely someone who I think could go far because I don't think she'll be targeted that largely, and I don't think anybody has any delusions of her being loyal to Tony, the only other person from Cagayan. I think people know that, yeah, they have bad blood between them, and I think that's also going to be a problem. She's going to be Tony-focused. If they are on opposite tribes and they make it to the merge, she's going to be like, gotta get out Tony, gotta get out Tony, gotta get out Tony, Tony the Tiger. Just say. She's going to be very Tony-focused, and I think that if Tony gets voted out early, that might loosen up her game enough that she could go far and might do well, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. So, there we go. That's Sarah for you. Next, we got Troyzan. If he had a strategic slogan, it would be, I'm the man. Right? His best move, I guess, would be being leader of the Misfits. It's like when he realized that we have all these these pretty people, athletic guys, and they want to control everything, but we got all these misfits over here. I have a better chance to go with the misfits, so we'll just vote out some of these pretty guys. I think that was a good move. It was early, so make what you will about that. In terms of worst moves, you might think it's the voting off, what was it, Mike? He voted off one of his guys because Kim told him that he was thinking of voting him off, and he wasn't. But it's there's no excuse for what his worst move is, and what everybody on that tribe's worst move is listening to Colton and giving up immunity. Nobody in the history of Survivor has ever had their tribe give immunity to the other tribe and go to tribal council themselves because it's idiotic. There's a difference between, throwing a challenge. That's fine. But when you have immunity and one of you is going home, if you go to tribal, and everybody agrees to go to tribal, that's idiotic. That is stupid to the 5th degree. It is absolutely inexcusable for anybody on that tribe to have not said, Colton, this is stupid. You don't like this guy? We can vote him out next tribal. Too flippin' bad. I hated Colton all through One World, but I actually missed that episode. When I was told about it later, I nearly threw something. I was mad on how stupid that was. And so anyway, though, Troyzan himself I like as a character. I was actually cheering for him in this season. I don't think he's going to be able to... If he makes it to the end, he's going to make it to the end as a GOAT. I don't think he has it in him. I think that he's a little bit too quirky. Doesn't really have the mindset for the strategy. That's why he's in characters. I think he's going to be a fun character. I think it's going to be like, hey, I'm Troyzan, and I'm going to be here trying to do all this stuff, and then I'm going to slip up and fall on my face and get voted out. Next, we got Sierra Dawn Thomas. Dud, 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 dud. She's a dud. She had a strategic slogan. It was... If you go to the end with Dan, you win. If you go to the end with Dan, you win. If you go to the end with Dan, you win. And that guy's so bad at apologizing. Best move? What move? What can you say was Sierra's move in Worlds Apart? What can you say? I can't point to a single one that says her move. This was her thing. All she did was not make moves. When they say, hey, let's do an all-girls thing, she's like, nah. When Mike's like, hey, come on with me, she's like, nah. When she's like, hey, they just voted out your best friend. Do you want to come with us? She's like, nah. And that, I think, is her worst move. She didn't flip. She never made a bid for power. She never made a move that would give her the control of the game. She always just let the vote flow where other people wanted to go, and that gave Rodney the power. She let Rodney take control of the game because she just didn't make any moves, and she was hoping just to make it to the end with Rodney and Dan. Well, guess what, Sierra? You can't just expect the game to flow your way. You gotta make it. Gosh darn it. She's a dud. Who would I replace her with? Oh, I got someone. You want someone who is athletic, beautiful, and can do well in terms of strategy? How about one of the greatest players ever, Kim Spradlin? We can have more winners. We can have one more. I mean, Kim is brilliant. Kim is a mastermind. In terms of game changers, that's who you want to see. And wouldn't it be great to have a rematch between Kim and Troyzan? Troyzan now knows, okay, we got to go against Kim. But, Kim would be on her own tribe. You wouldn't want to have them start on the same tribe. But you could have that thing where it's like, now we got these two characters who are against each other and know each other and they have some connection. I would say give Kim Spradlin this spot and nobody's complaining. Nobody. But you give it to Sierra Dawn Thomas and everyone's like, who? Oh yeah, that barrel racer? Most people don't know what barrel racing is. I do, I'm from Canada. It's like you gotta just ride your horses around barrels. And people, what do you think it's like that time when Mike did in Worlds Apart where he just got on the barrels and started riding them over? It's not like that. She's a dud. She's not a good character. I don't need to see her. She's pointless. Boo, Sierra Dawn Thomas. Oh, she's going to go far again, isn't she? I just know it. Vote her out. I hope the other Sierra is like, I'm the only Sierra on this island. Poof, and votes her out. Whew. Okay. Last on the list, we got Zeke Smith. I think it's a little early to be calling him a game changer. I'm going to put him in the player category. Zeke's strategic strategy would be, just stay one vote ahead of the other guy. That was his thing. When David was saying, hey, let's go after Zeke in a couple votes. Zeke was like, okay, we're going after David now. I think that was a lot of what made Zeke a really good player. Is he was always trying to stay one step ahead of what his next enemy was. His best move is definitely, hey guys, let's go to Rocks. You know, when he got his tribe to go to Rocks for him. And what's the funniest thing about it is I hear in interviews where he's like, I neglected to say that how in the rock draw, I would not be drawing a rock because the votes are coming against me and therefore I am now safe. You know, I neglected to say that, but it was still fun. And so when they went to Rocks, and so he got all these people, and some of them who he just betrayed the vote before, to go to Rocks for him. That is great. That shows this guy has a social game, and I know he has a strategic game of the way he plays, of trying to stay one vote ahead of everybody else. And then in terms of his worst move, hey Will, you're still with us, right? I mean, Ken pissed you off. So, you don't want to be with that guy. I think it's just he got too trusting of some people, and when they turned on him, he didn't know how to counter it. You know, when Will turned on him, he didn't know how to counter it. He didn't know how to go, okay, we're going to have to make something new. He just thought, okay, Ken pissed Will off, so that means I'm probably safe. Well, you weren't, and you went home because of that. Zeke, I don't think is a game changer, but going into the next season, I would say Zeke has the best chance of any of these people who are not game changers, best chance to be a game changer. I see a lot of strategic potential in Zeke. I see a lot of strategy. I definitely see some game. I'm looking to see if he can pull it off. But overall, I think that Survivor Game Changers is good. Because if you look at it, I only have 4 people that I would really say need to be replaced. Ozzy, Brad, Haley, and Sierra Don Thomas. And so, those are the 4 that I would say replace with other people. Beyond that, I think this is a really good cast. I'm really looking forward to see how it turns out. Did they need to bring all these characters back? Not necessarily, but in the end, this is going to be a good... I like that there's... Besides Korong is the only one that has 4. There's a good mixture of people. I would like to see maybe some more people from older seasons. I think that Game Changers, Jeff has been hyping it up a lot. Heck, you hear in the first promo as that was one of the greatest moves I've ever seen. And it takes a lot to impress Jeff these days. So, looking forward to it. Looking forward to see where this goes. Now I just want to do a quick fire segment of like who has bad blood. I think we got 2 people that have bad blood against Cirie. That would be Ozzy and JT. They're both probably going to target Cirie because I think that Cirie knows she can't trust JT because JT got her out, and Ozzy because Cirie blindsided him. So I think that's going to be tough because they're on the same tribe together. Sarah obviously has bad blood with Tony. We got Brad Culpepper and Sierra Easton. They were on the same season. I think they might have actually patched everything up. I would not be surprised if they actually worked together in this game in some shape or form. Because even though Brad was voted out by Sierra, I still think that it was necessary and that he didn't really give her any other choice, and I don't think he really blames her for that. Andrea Malcolm is going to be interesting because Andrea was definitely one of the people that got Malcolm voted out, so it will be interesting to see if she and Malcolm actually patch things together. I don't think they were very bitter, and I think that it was just because they were on the wrong sides of the numbers, but it's going to be interesting to see, you know, because I've seen them very friendly together, you know, on like Rob Has a Podcast and stuff like that, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can actually work together, or if now that we're back in the game, do old wounds open up, and that the whole thing is like, I can't trust you because you didn't trust me in that game. So I don't know if that opens up. It might. Let's see, what else? I think the big thing is who's going to be the lamb from Korong. Because somebody's going to die because that Korong 4 is way too powerful. It could be Caleb, but I'm thinking it's going to be Ty. Ty and maybe Aubrey. Those are the 2 who I'm worried about being a Korong 4. But anyways, I think that's all I got to talk about. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm looking forward to the next season of Survivor Game Changers. Most of these people I'm looking forward to, and who knows, maybe these people will surprise me. I highly doubt it. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Adios.